Hey, what's up, you guys? You're watching Team APS, Paul here, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about something that's kind of crossed my mind recently, and that's that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of running on a clock. It's kind of running out of time, and I should go ahead and say that this isn't like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Is dying video. It's not really about that. It's more about like how Konami runs the game and some of the things the game is lacking and what it can do better. So yeah, this I didn't want to like lead with that, but also this video is sort of inspired by my friend Olympio. He made a video about like Yu-Gi-Oh! Prize support, and he's also made some other recent videos kind of criticizing how Konami, like just some of their decision making with the game. And honestly, I agree with pretty much everything he says, and it encouraged me to make this type of video, just a sort of off the dome discussion. I don't really haven't felt like doing like top tens and stuff lately, and I don't really feel like doing a bunch of like news segments and stuff. I just want to talk about the game sometimes. So yeah, I might make more videos like this. I'm not really sure, but anywho, okay. So enough talk. Let's like discuss what I'm actually concerned about with this topic. So Yu-Gi-Oh! There have been a lot of things that people have said about like how Yu-Gi-Oh is run. Lack of good prize support is one thing. Lack of announcements about ban lists is another thing. A game being expensive. Lots of little complaints like that, among others. And I've had my own set of personal complaints. I feel that Konami doesn't really communicate with the players as much as they should, and things aren't very transparent. I don't think that events are as good as they should be. That's something that we'll probably talk about here in a bit. But the overarching problem that I'm seeing is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is simply falling behind its competition in so many different ways. And a lot of what's worked for Konami and for this game in the past is like gradually beginning to slip. So I don't even know where to start. Let's, I guess, start with prize support, right? It's been long known that Yu-Gi-Oh! Does not offer cash prizes for tournaments. That's not really anything new, and we know why. It's because Kazuki Takahashi does not believe that this game should be played for money. And for what it's worth, I don't, wholly agree with that, but I can respect it. So here's the thing, though. Games like Pokemon, games like Magic, and even games like, Bushiroad's Vanguard, things like that, have, national championships, they have circuits, they have equivalents to like regionals and YCS events, roughly. And their championships offer huge cash payouts and prizes. And, I was like reading about like last year's Pokemon TCG championships, and it was like $500,000 worth in prizes that get distributed to the winners. And, Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have that, and we can't really expect that Yu-Gi-Oh! Will ever get that. So to assume that we'll get prize supports is unreasonable. We should maybe let it go. But I think that, and Olympio said this in his video, I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs to, Konami really, Yu-Gi-Oh's a person, Konami needs to reconsider, like, how it structures its prizes. I feel that even if you can't offer cash, offering things that are of cash-like value, fairly liquid things, would be great. And I just think like the way that prize support has worked up to now has been rather lazy, and I don't think anyone can like fight that. I mean, like Olympia was saying that the Dragon Duelist Championships, they get old Dark Lord cards, like Dark Lord Superbia, and like those types of cards, these old prize cards from past year's YCS events. That's what you get for Dragon Duels. And Dragon Duels, though, it's something that's really valuable. Dragon Duels are, for a duelist ages 12 and under, and so it's kind of a kids bracket type of thing, but it's really competitive. They're playing the same game we are, the same meta game, the same, cards, decks, format. And the prize support is just so lazy. I mean, a few years ago, those Dark Lord prize cards would have been worthwhile, I guess, but they aren't anymore, and they haven't really updated that format of like prizes, the prize payout. And the same kind of goes for like the school duel series and the generation duel series and the 3-on-3 duel series. All of these like events are great for tournaments. I think that YCS events should definitely keep these types of things. The problem I have though is that I just don't feel like the prizes are there. It doesn't feel like there's enough incentive, and it almost makes a bit of a mockery of the competitive scene. And, I was like thinking about it comically the other day. Like, I don't know why we argue so much on the internet about like what the best deck is or what the next ban list should be. When in all actuality, what does a lot of it matter when people are playing for like mats and deck boxes? I mean, YCS events, like you get, like top 8 at a regional and you get a mat and a deck box. And I just think that's really low. And then also like at YCS events, you might get a top cut mat and like that's pretty much it. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh is so behind other card games in terms of what it's giving out as prizes. And it's this analogy that I kind of like to call kicking the can down the road. It's like, clearly things are getting bad, things are, getting worse and not working out, and Konami just refuses to change stuff. And this isn't just about prize support. This is also about, things like the way that like cards are released for the TCG in North America versus in Europe. There's been the recent controversy about Summon Sorceress, the new Link monster, and it's going to be a Shonen Jump exclusive card, which means that Europe won't have access to it until who knows whenever it gets reprinted there. And the same goes for like Link Karibo and stuff. And it's like that type of stuff, it just blows my mind because I don't think that Shonen Jump cards should be meta relevant cards that can shape an entire format. It means that over the summer, after Summon Sorceress releases, the TCG in North America will be very much different than the TCG in Europe because they won't have access to Summon Sorceress, they won't have access to Link Karibo. That's not fair. That's like two different games. I think it's just a little bit wild that Konami is still allowing this to happen. And then, let's talk about like communication. I have said for the longest time, if you've watched this channel, you will know Konami does not communicate well at all, and I think it is, for me, the biggest frustration with playing this game. I follow the official Yu-Gi-Oh! Twitter account, Facebook account, all that stuff, and it's always just product plugs and very, very generic, YCS is happening type posts. We get no interaction. We don't really even get humor. We don't really get like cool sneak peek announcements. Like they've kind of started doing that with Konami Europe recently, like when they'll show the new TCG exclusives and kind of have a Facebook poll to get people a little bit engaged and involved. So good job to Konami Europe for doing that. But I really do think that that's becoming like an increasing issue that they don't communicate with us. I know that people want, Konami to ask us for our thoughts on the ban list. I don't think that's ever going to really happen. I don't think they'll ever get, mass player input on how ban lists should be handled. I didn't expect them to. But I do think that we deserve to have some type of community polling. Like what do players think of the format? How satisfied are you? I think that we also maybe could afford to at least get patch notes of sorts. So whenever a ban list does release, we get some reasoning like, oh, this card went to 1 because this, or this card got banned because that, or we removed this card from the ban list because of these reasons. Other games do this. Whenever there are patch notes in games like Overwatch or, whatever, like you'll get some reasoning as to why it happened, or at least, a bit of the mindset that went into like what these decisions, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think like with Konami, it's bad enough that we don't have ban list dates, but the fact that we also don't even know like why stuff gets hit. Sometimes ban lists just drop out of nowhere, random cards get hit. It might seem like some things get hit later than they should, or things, last far longer than just they should in general. And I think it's wild that, Konami can't even like tell us why. And that's outside of the fact that we don't know when ban lists drop. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a better game when we got a ban list in March and September. 6-month-long formats might seem a bit extensive. I know, because we're kind of more used to this whole 3-4 month format thing now. But either way, I think that we need to have ban list dates again. It's okay for a ban list date to pass and we not even get any changes in the ban list necessarily. But I definitely think that it sucks for the players to have to play a game where we are not sure what's going to happen. It makes investing really tough. It's like, do I buy a deck? Will it get hit? Should I buy an Electromite? Should I buy evenly matched? Should I buy Trick Stars? Whatever. Or are these decks going to get hit? And that's just that's really unfortunate and kind of unprofessional. And it doesn't stop there. I mean, it really, like, there's so many other little things. Like, the fact that Konami's card releases are out of sync with the TV shows now. Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, the dub, has not aired in the United States yet, and I don't think it's going to for another few months at least. So it's crazy then that we're getting releases of, what are these birds? Anyway, so it's just crazy that we're getting releases of, like, these things like starter deck, Yusaku or whatever, or like use Yusaku's coolest newest cards in this new set. And it's like, no, we can't do Star Pack Range and all this stuff because no one technically knows what Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns is. Like, it's not officially in the States yet. And in case people haven't noticed, this type of thing is really becoming, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Animes are not resonating with kids the way that they used to. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, those were great. Kids watched those, and you could release, starter deck Cyrus Truesdale or, starter deck whatever, Chaz Princeton or Duelist Pack Chaz Princeton, because these characters, the kids knew who they were. They had incentive to buy them. They wanted to get the cards of their favorite characters in the show. That's not really the case anymore. I mean, really and truly, what do we have to show for any of this? I mean, there's no reason for kids to get into the game. I've noticed that at local scenes, I'm seeing fewer and fewer kids getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it doesn't really air like after school and on weekends and stuff anymore. And it just really, the only people who I feel are like playing it and buying this stuff are the people who kind of already know about Yu-Gi-Oh! I get it. That's just my anecdotal experience. I don't know every card scene. There might be card shops that have, a lot of kids, but I feel like it's important for young players to get into the game, start playing, and for Konami to cater, at least to some degree, to the younger players, but it doesn't seem like it's really happening, and that's a bit of an issue because if we don't get new blood into the game, then as older people begin to quit and move on with life, then the game starts to suffer as a result. So, like, I don't know, and I think Konami is just so okay. They seem so okay with just doing things the way they have. They seem okay with releasing lackluster, underwhelming prize support, not changing the prize support format at all. They seem totally okay with just, releasing these cards in different, like, territories, the Summon Sorceress, Link Rebo stuff, where, like, Europe won't get it and the TCG, like, in North America will get it, and so it becomes splintered. Not giving ban list dates and just kind of being like, oh, whatever, we'll just throw it out. Like, literally nothing is more, like, I mean, I like when a new ban list is announced, but nothing's more frustrating, or like, not frustrating, but alienating or confusing, I guess, than when a ban list just shows up on a Tuesday afternoon. Like, that's so strange to me, like, that we can't have any type of expectation. I mean, there are other games that are becoming virtually esports, and Konami is just sitting here kicking the can down the road. And it gets super annoying, there's so many little things I could continue on about. I know this video's probably gotten a bit long, but the fact that, there's no communication on social media. They don't collaborate with content creators. They're okay. They really, recently I know Konami did that Duel Links promotion, and that was cool, but they've got to do more of that. They've got to send YugiTubers early products to review, or have YugiTubers do coverage at YCS events officially. Like, hire a few of them. Hire some big names. Hire like Sam or Simo or Simply Unlucky or somebody, I don't know, to, do like deck profiles, or hire them to do interviews of players at these events. Because right now, the live streams that they intermittently have, they aren't even at every YCS, don't cut it. There's nothing there. Like, it's just crazy to me. Anyway, I feel like I've gone on a bit long. It's kind of like frustrated me a bit. And let me dispel a myth that I've actually seen a bit online lately. Some people think that I'm like sponsored by Konami. Not the case. I know they sent us the Duel Links stuff. That's great. They don't tell me about products early. They don't send me like free things every week. I don't talk to them. I don't know anything. I am very critical of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Konami, and I like this game a lot, so it sucks to see it run the way it is. But no, I don't approve of how they do things more often than not. I think that people are sometimes too harsh about Konami, but at the same time, I mean, I can be too, so maybe I'm just being a hypocrite. I don't know. The point is, we should all be critical of Konami. I don't think that people should just blindly hate them or just blindly complain like, oh, I didn't get my favorite card. But I do think that Konami's got to get their act together because this game is running out of time to get interest back, to get people engaged, to get people going to events feeling like they're getting their money's worth when they're traveling to these events. And I don't not it just so like communication, ban lists, card releases. It's just like they don't care and they're just trucking along until this game burns out. I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but it needs to change. So that's my rant, I guess, about this. I just think Yu-Gi-Oh needs help. So, they need better PR. They need better everything. What do you guys think? Are you okay with how Yu-Gi-Oh is run? Like, am I just making a big deal out of nothing? Or do you think these are serious problems? Like I said at the start of the video, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh is dead or like dying per se. I just think that with Konami running the game as it is now, it's on the road there to like self-destruction. So hopefully this can get turned around. Konami's not going to see this video. I'm sure they don't care. Or maybe they do care. Maybe they want to do better and something's holding them back. Maybe it's Kazuchika Takahashi. Maybe it's some higher up at Konami. Some legal issues. I don't know. But something's got to happen. And if they can't change it, it would be nice to at least get some confirmation from the peoples that they hear us. I don't know. Well, that's it for the video. Let me shut up before this goes on for hours. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. And I might make more videos about this because there's so much just little stuff about Yu-Gi-Oh! I can bitch about all day, to be honest. So, yeah, that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. Till next time, later.